Welcome back to the 2016 Causeway Challenge here in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. My name is Jesse Matthews, here with Chris May. We're going to provide analysis of this round's matchup between Chollapat Itthiaree and Nigel Richards at board 1. Nigel is now a game clear of the pack, plus a lot of spread, so essentially 2 games clear. And Chollapat is he's in second place right now, as you know. Jumped over back on spread?
I don't think so, because he just took a loss to Dave Wiegand by 20 points. So I think Dave's
in third.
May even be in second now.
Dave is on the half win though, so I think Mark is still like half a game up.
Oh, that must be right. Yeah. So we may be seeing another Nigel Mark match in the next round.
Yeah, so Nigel is a game up on Mark plus spread. So as we said, basically 2 games up, and then Nigel is half a game back of Mark Nyman in third, and then Chollapat is probably somewhere a little further down than fourth, given he just lost. All the same, an important match here. With a win for Chollapat, that would bring Nigel back down within range again. Chollapat with not a bad rack here, just slightly off. However, this board is not the friendliest to hooking easily at the moment. Jun with the K hook, and then Yui not taking the S, of course. Already pretty odd.
I didn't catch Chollapat's opening rack.
I missed it as well.
That's a shame. Must have been interesting for him to choose that opening play. I assume at least 2,000 to keep. Maybe DIE, something like that. So
he's dropping just the Y for Oi.
Gutsy decision, given that, as you said, the board is not super friendly to S fingers. And if he's permuted his options with the most likely draws there, but seems like there's a risk of an unplayable 7 with that play. Then again, he's trying hard not to give counterplay to Nigel as well, which is certainly a defensible choice.
He's got Dossier on his rack.
He does, and I think he might even get a handy double-double for that after Nigel plays QI. So gamble may be working.
Now, Nigel here can obviously infer that Chollapat's got a pretty nice rack after the Y, and possibly at least one S. But Oi does take an E as well.
You think Nigel might just drop the Q?
Well, I was thinking that is possible. You know, it is not outside of possibility for him to do something like this. But no, it looks like he... Hang on, is he just going to make the Q play? Because that would just be nasty to block it like that, but not unsurprising. Yeah, he's just playing the Q.
Wow.
So, not going to have that double-double opportunity. And really, it's not surprising.
We've seen some, you called it. We've seen some wonderful range finding from Nigel already in this tournament. That's just another example. Knowing full well that there was a healthy 6-letter keep there from Chollapat, elects not to open the double-double and keep things very tight for a 7.
And then, besides blocking the double-double, iodizers would have played hooking to make Nyes as well, so that also got taken out.
Yeah. And so instead of a 100-point double-double, Chollapat's left with nothing.
Which is vexing.
His best fish is actually to drop the S, which is immobilizes the board. So while we wait...
okay.
Oh, brave play to keep an imbalanced rack.
2 S's even, yeah.
Played that very fast. Too fast for us to really go through the options. Maybe it's about to change though. I think it's just been taken off the feed.
It seems like whoever is doing Quackle for us today hasn't been putting in the players' racks properly before entering it, so it's constantly saying this isn't in the bounce. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, we are back there.
But we now see that he doesn't have a D on the given rack. We were told that he kept one.
Yeah, it looks like there's something.
So guys in the crew, if we could get a a live shot of Chollapat's rack to make sure that we have the correct data, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the entered rack is correct, which means that the previous rack of Dossier must have been wrong, and it was probably Mossier, would be my guess.
Or Uziers or something like this.
Yeah, or else, that's right, yeah. Must have kept EORSS, maybe.
Hard to say.
Hard to say.
I don't know if Chollapat's plays would make sense if he had Uzier, so perhaps Mossier was on there.
Oh, we now see that DI is on the board, so Dossier may have been correct.
Oh. Yeah, DI makes more sense. Because the D and the O look similar when you're looking at it from far away, so that might be it.
So sorry about this, guys. We're working with the same visual feed that you are.
Yeah.
We have to call again as we see it. And Nigel, no surprise there that he's playing very, very defensively.
PG.
Blocks out the... Kenji says it's a very weird play. Well, it seems to have some obvious advantages. It paralyzes anything down towards the south and east of the board and leaves a fairly unfriendly tile V as the only floater, which also can't be paralleled for points.
Bomb, yeah. I see the logic for that. I almost wonder if he should just have played Vroom for more points. I don't know, like... Bomb, I understand it.
These players are both playing very fast for what's actually quite a cagey early exchange.
And yes, Jackson always is good in Collins. It does take the S hook, as well as an E.
So while we're taking stock here, waiting for Nigel to play, I just wanted to relay some spectacular play from the last game by David Eldar against another Thai player, Pichai. Dave ended up scoring over 600 in the game. Early on, he played Luxuriate with a blank X through disconnected tiles.
Wow.
So that is a pretty world-class 9. And later on, an even more spectacular play, although easy to see. Pichai had played Owrie, that's O-W-R-I-E, between two triple word scores, one of which was a little bit nested. And Dave was sitting on a rack that included an A and a V with 3 unseen S's, and duly kept that AV, drew an S, and next turn played Avouries for 166.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's how to boost your score.
So Kenji is a fan of Ulu after Mimical.
Right, okay, so Kenji had forgotten that Vose didn't front hook.
Yeah.
So I think Vose was a very, very credible play there from Nigel.
Yeah. So Ulu... I don't know. What about Umu?
I like that Mimical play from Nigel, that's cool. Yeah, what about Umu?
I think Umu accomplishes the same thing, plus it opens a lane on the left.
Yeah.
So I would prefer that, actually.
It's a forking play. Fork maybe not that easy to use, in other words, ending in U. Chollapat agrees. Umu goes down. I saw Dave Eldar at breakfast. He drank 4 cups of coffee. This is his second day of his life that he's drinking coffee.
He's a convert. He's never
Very
gone back.
much, yeah.
I wonder after Umu now, since Nigel can probably infer that there's a decent rack plus S's, if he'll play Flow, you know, or I guess Flop is there as well, but in terms of balance, Flow's a little bit better at H12. I mean, it leaves an E down there, but...
I mean, Nigel knows that Chollapat has been working with Bingo Prone leaves including an S for several turns already. And so the the highest scoring bingo threat is the 7 across from 15B, which means that there is indeed a case for a play from H12 to knock out that 7, and then if it's going to be a bingo through those tiles, it has to start with E to hit a triple word score, and that's there are obviously a lot of words that start with E, but it's not the best starting letter.
And there goes Flow, as mentioned, probably a little bit better and for balance, and E is not so bad to leave there. So
yeah, I mean that's just all around good equity, and it's actually got a defensive component, although it doesn't look like it.
In this case, it gets Chollapat overseas, as Robin has pointed out, so Chollapat's finally going to get a bonus down.
And he'll be relieved to get that first bingo down and not be committed to it as a strategy.
So he's drawing new tiles. Looks like he's just smacked it down there.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have taken much looking at that board to identify it as the only option.
Yeah, so there goes overseas like that.
And a handy looking rack for Nigel. I see Zupan straight off the bat at 7. At J10. Of course, he may not like it because it's double parallel.
Yeah.
That it creates.
Well, on the left as well, actually. It's available.
Oh yeah, much better there. Yeah. And he plays it right away.
So looking at candidate plays here.
On a board that's not all that nice to chase on.
And Nigel's got Eternal, Eternal and Teleran on his rack.
And Nigel has a guaranteed bingo next turn.
Yeah.
But before that, well, what does Chollapat do? The default play is a B6 play like Flan.
Yeah. I was looking for something better than Flan, but not seeing it.
Chollapat's playing pretty fast, actually.
I don't usually associate fast with tie play, given the history with Buckhorn in particular, but...
Generational change.
Yeah. Now we're going to see...
So we're seeing a very strong case being made in the chat for Chollapat to have played Ulu instead of Umu positionally. Largely because of the strength of the opportunities it creates and the blocking headache it creates for Nigel, who has an S relatively seldom in that position. The game's moving on, so we must follow it. But I think that's going to be a good move for interested players to go back and check out and think about themselves.
Yeah.
So some more comments in the chat about Chollapat being known as a speedy player on the Internet Scrabble Club. So what do you guys think? If it's your natural game, should you bring that to a tournament and go for it even under annotation against Nigel? Or is it worth slowing yourself down even though it's not your natural instinct? I mean, so many of us overlook plays merely because we make them too fast.
I remember, because I started as a speed player online, for a while there was kind of this odd sort of transitional period into tournament play where when I would try to consciously take longer to think about things, I'd actually talk myself out of what ended up being the best play under analysis later, and then eventually, as I learned to be more slow consistently, that was no longer the case. But for someone who is naturally a speedy player, it's not always easy to force yourself to be slow and really think about it, because there is this, oddly enough, overthinking component that can creep in sometimes. So to answer your question, I'd say, well, if it's worked for you to play fast and under, analysis later you look and see you haven't made catastrophic mistakes, it might be better just to keep on playing fast.
Yeah, I guess we all approach this question in a way that's strongly coloured by our personal histories with the game. I mean, I've found over many years, looking back at my tournament play, that my big mistakes always tend to be words that I know very well, but have simply missed in the position, rather than the other kinds of category of error that can creep into your game. And so I as a kid, most kids who take up the game are very fast at first, and I was like that too. And I slowed down quite a lot over time. I remember thinking as a 17, 18-year-old, well, why would anyone need more than 20 minutes for a game of Scrabble ever?
And now?
now 25 is not enough most of the time. I'm also a big fan of taking time on the early plays if the play is difficult. I don't at all subscribe to the theory that you need to bank time for the last plays of the game. Those plays aren't more important than the first plays of the game. You should take the time as you see it, based on the particular position. But again, these are personal remarks, so do jump in on the chat if you have something to say on these questions.
So Nigel has drawn
a blank.
Yeah.
Nigel with a blank and an 80-point lead. Kenji notes that some people aren't made to play hyper-analytically, and I certainly agree with that. I think I'm one of them. I mean, I've never bothered learning leave tables. I seldom score moves before making them. I play them positionally, and I play them on instinct very much of the time.
I'm trying to think of who you're talking about, Kenji.
Maybe it's himself. He secretly doesn't analyze.
No, that's definitely not the case. Kenji very much analyzes.
I'm asking for a friend.
Oh, Joey, right. Yeah.
Nigel's changed.
D, K, and T.
Nice play, I think.
Yeah.
His only balancing plays looked like they opened lines.
Too much, yeah.
And he's got that R hook in the keep for an Oya bingo. So it's a nice bit of slowing the board down, not developing it unnecessarily, with a comfortable lead and a blank on board. Looks like Chollapat's replied almost instantly with
an exchange of his own, eh?
Is that right?
Or did he put something down? I didn't see.
No, I didn't think he would have changed that.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, Abrin to open the board up.
Abrin looks reasonable. Takes an S hook only. And we wait to see what punishment Nigel will dole out here.
Dairy's diary.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a bingo down the O column. Dead easy for almost any expert. Well, in fact, it's double-double. He has diarized, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, diarized there. Yeah, that's even better. Or airside. Yeah.
So, well, Nigel's having a day out today so far.
Nice start. Oh, there we go. Chollapat's going to have a bonus back in response.
A consolation one, however. There's no way he's coming back now.
This board is very easily controllable from here.
Far too easy for Nigel. He'd have to have absolute junk from here to the end of the game to let this one go. Well, he does kind of have junk, but junk that allows him to play positionally.
Yeah. Not conducive to blocking, mind you, at least not easily, but enough to control to some extent.
Well, say Chollapat bingos down the O column, as I think is likely. Nigel will have some decent options for paralleling that in a way that at least creates difficulty reparalleling. And if not, he can, I don't know, play off the eye or something.
Now I'm looking and thinking perhaps it's, yeah, I was thinking Artisan briefly to leave the B or P possibility, but that's just not necessary, I think, at this point.
No, if anything, that's likely to help Nigel outrun him. Yeah. Jackson points out that a C-column bingo would be an interesting choice, opening the night timer. Just a quick look at the Zivor options suggests that there isn't one available. I'm happy to be corrected on that.
Jackson, you're basically thinking out loud what I was thinking after you asked if it's column bingos. That was my thought too. It's like, yeah, that would score nicely, but then Abram becomes useless. Well, almost useless. The I and the N are still there to play through, but the obvious scoring option of Abrams and something else is gone. And this might seem like a straightforward, just put a bonus down, but Chollapat is, I think, rightly taking time to think about which one is most useful to a long shot, mind you, but
exactly,
long shot comeback.
No, he has to think about paths to victory still from this position. You know, more than 20 tiles in the bag, and he's going to go within the scoring distance of a large bingo. So, you know, not totally inconceivable. Say he pulled X and some very good tiles, and then was able to play the X off for 50 points, and Nigel was dumping off 1 point tiles. Well, it's just conceivable as a scenario. I think that's a very good play of mantras that he's gone for. Doesn't allow cheap scores for Nigel paralleling, and makes that N column bingo from N2 to N8. It allows an easy parallel overlapping the MA, and that fifth tile going on the triple letter score. Quite often that's a heavy tile if it's, say, an ED word. So he's creating the board shape that's most likely to get him where he wants to go. But Nigel defending 78-point lead with no S's or blanks to come, well,
yeah,
I'd be a bit surprised.
So with Nigel's rack here, there's K and H unseen to him as the most threatening off of air side, so he's probably not going to worry too much about that, but the bonus blocking play would be something like Toya, perhaps, alongside mantras to use some tiles.
Well, I'd be going to play horizontally on row 6 to take out the X spot as well.
Oh, the X is still there, right, never mind. I didn't see the X, so yeah.
And so it floats a T, and if Chollapat bingoes straight away, then it's a pretty close game. But Nigel will still probably have a little bit of a lead and the initiative, so he wouldn't be too worried.
So Chollapat would have something like Dex or Ibex, assuming we're not blocked, but Nigel's going to see that the X is out there, and the most threatening thing, because the best case scenario for Chollapat would be to play the X for 50-something and bonus the next turn.
And you can bet your life that Nigel's knows that scenario and is planning against it right now. So good bit of play there by Chollapat. Nigel has genuine worries here, despite all his advantages in the position. Elbow again.
That beautiful elbow.
Elbow cam, yeah, it's delightful.
looked like he had Tattoo lined up, but I don't see a second bow for him to play to.
Yeah, that H and K means that there are bingos available down the end column that score a hell of a lot of points. And the sort of scoring range that would put Chollapat ahead.
Nigel's made the blocking play.
He leaves the big bingo line open but defends against the X. So I guess he likes his chances of outrunning any bingo that Chollapat could get, as long as Chollapat doesn't also have the X for many points. Kenji throws out a curveball with TO at 14M for Nigel's candidate play, presumably to set up his own.
Well, Ita and something, but what are you looking to set up, Kenji?
Teach us, Kenji. So a little bit of a headache now for Chollapat since the gimme X play has been removed. The rack's not by any stretch of the imagination easy to...
Prex is what I saw as a possibility, or Prex, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Prex, so maybe a forced play. It's anti-synergistic in the leave, but not as badly as it could be. BP and BX have been broken up, and that's important.
So Kenji has 3 points on future turns, I get that, but why wouldn't you be concerned about the X? Oof. Chollapat with all 3 of the G's and a W. That's
a shocking draw and nowhere for bigwig anymore. Or bagwig. Bagwig is good, right?
I think so.
I can confirm that bagwig is good. Yes. I still got it.
There you go. That's bad news for Chollapat. And Nigel's turn, so Chollapat will have no chance to change, so that's a GGTY.
Hasn't done really very much wrong. Got back to within 50 points, which even that was a bit implausible.
Almost Tokaroa on Nigel's practice, a W instead of an R.
Or if you give him the R instead of the H, he's got Waterloo.
Yeah, Waterloo.
No surprises there. Nigel doesn't really concern himself with leave too much, but takes out the huge bingo line. And, that would very likely have been a death blow, whatever Chollapat held, but with B, D, G, 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 I, W, and only 4 tiles in the bag, so no exchange available. That's
that.
That is very much that. Another healthy win for Nigel Richards. Ominous signs. Day 3 runaway is looming. We need Jesse Day back to
take him down a peg.
Show him what's what, yeah.
I believe Jesse Day and Dave Wigan were playing on the other bar, were they not?
This round?
Yeah. 4-2? Or no, Mark would still be, I don't know.
I think I've got the pairings. Nyman is playing Wigan this round on board 2, and Jesse is playing Hubert Wee.
Oh, there we go. Oh, and Joanne Craig is surged up. She's in 5th place right now.
Yeah, she's 5th overnight. These are the overnight placings still that we're looking at.
Jesse beat her last round, though, so if that's not updated, then yeah, Jesse's up to 5th or 4th.
So Chollapat played Gibb. I mean, what can we say about that move? He had no good options. He had, with that rack, no winning chances. So he just took the points that he could get and left one in the bag. Nigel doesn't have the N for Oreodont. Which I think is the. I'm gonna scratch that. I'm gonna self-censor. I was gonna say there was some interesting probability feature that Oreodont had, but I can't quite remember what it was. So Nigel played Roto there, keeping D-E-O-O. I'm not sure if that's just a points grab or if he had a good chance of getting an outplay with a one-top pick up. I'm not sure that he has got an outplay with the wire that was in the bag. Those 5 tiles don't make any 6s.
I'm not sure he particularly cared because of what Chollapat was going to have from his point of view. But yeah.
I mean, he normally plays optimally with one tile permuted endgames. And, well, this is horrendous for Chollapat. He's going to have a lot of trouble going out here, so Nigel's probably going to run up the spread a bit.
Yeah, I'm not even seeing anywhere to dump the K and the W, which should be the best case.
Really needs the old U for Guiduck.
You could just play Tick, actually. T-I-C-K to get rid of at least 2 of them.
Yeah, or Welk.
Or Welk is there, yeah. New, as was pointed out by Aaron Bader on the bottom right, yeah, that does it as well. Although Nigel could just, drop the O and then... Yeah, he would just drop the O and then have Yodel next turn with Welk was played.
So, I guess we'll find out from Nigel's next move whether a stick is possible. Much easier to let Nigel work it out than to try and figure it out ourselves. Is there a C stick on, by any chance? I feel like it's possible.
CH is there, so...
Oh, right, and TIC is there. So maybe not. In which case an out in 2 is probably optimal. Oh, it's so nice not having to actually work this out.
Yeah.
Commentary is way better than playing. Everyone should retire. Actually, no one should retire, so I can keep doing this.
Well, people seem to like having you in the booth, so you can have my job, I'll leave.
No, I can't do it without you. You supply the required professionalism.
So there goes Yo on the bottom left off of the lower of the 2 U's in Umu.
So it does indeed look like an out in 2 job. Right, so as this game wraps up, I'm just going to head out to the notice board and see if I've got pairings for you for the next round.
Sounds good. Based on what I saw the last round, there's a good chance that Dave Wiegand will be up on the top board, if I recall correctly. That depends on what happens with Mark. I think Nigel and Mark next round is the most probable, and then depending on how Dave does, he might be playing Nigel the round after. Well, thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. We're having a pretty good time together. No hiccups. So with that, Nigel's taken the win as they go into their post-mortem on the top board, and Chris is back with some potential news on pairings.
I'm afraid there's nothing on the notice board yet, but my guess is that if it's a lag draw from round 20, we'll be seeing another Richards-Nyman match.
Most likely.
If it isn't a lag draw, then I'm not entirely sure, but there's a possibility that someone like Dave Wiegand could make his way to table 1. So we'll just have to see. It'll be Nigel versus unknown. Unknown and under pressure.
Marlon Aaron's comment about new dumping both is I was talking about ideally getting rid of the K and the W to try and minimize the amount of points Nigel took off Chollapat's rack. So Aaron's suggestion of new accomplished the idea of getting rid of the W and the K. Welk, of course, ended up doing the same thing, but new scored a little bit more.
Kenji, thank you very much for the positive feedback on the commentary. It's nice to hear.
So I was saying while you were out of the room, having a good time. We've had no hiccups whatsoever. So fingers crossed we keep on making things work here. But
Indeed.
I definitely want to play again. It's been a great year of doing commentary, but I want to play again. So maybe Chris can completely lambaste me as I'm playing someday.
Oh no.
We are going to be back in about, actually over 15 minutes. We have a lot of time, given it's 10:12, because Chollapat was playing so fast. So we'll be back in just under 20 minutes with the next round's matchup on board 1. And as mentioned, we don't know exactly who yet, but until then, Jesse and Chris signing off from Johor Bahru. We'll be back soon at 10:30 local time, just under 20 minutes from now. Thank you.